Day Trading Radio presents a Briguy Trading production.
Good evening, traders. This is Briguy with DayTradingRadio.com, and today is Tuesday, October 16th, 2012. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. Just had a couple of things we're checking out here before the show. We've had some guests on before, and we appreciate that Andrew from VanKar is going to be coming on, but this will be the first time trying to use some additional tools in my trading to share out his presentation for us. So I hope this comes out okay, and if you guys are seeing any issues, you can just let me know in the chat room. Put my name in your message, Briguy, and that'll get my attention. So hope everyone's doing all right out there and the audio's coming across. Hopefully, if you don't hear me by now, you've already said something. And if not, I'll just talk to myself the rest of the show. So, without further ado, I'm going to give Andrew a call here, and we'll get him on the line.
Brian.
Yes, Andrew. Hi there.
How you doing?
Good, good. Now, I'm going to see if we can keep Skype from broadcasting your lovely self to the rest of the world, but it looks like it's not up there. So anyway, so Andrew's here from VanKar, and we have a link that's showing up on the live stream there. If you guys don't already have the VanKar platform and you'd like to check it out, there's a link there. You can click on that, and it'll go to this VanKar Trader for DTRS webpage. This looks like customized for DTR's purposes here.
It was, yeah. It's tagged back to the DTR guys, so we can tell them exactly what kind of traffic they generate, and we know on our end that it is a DTR guy, and you do get a preferred rate, and I always have a little bit better rapport, I feel, with the DTR guys, so it's good to know.
Okay, very good. So there's the links there. You guys can figure it out from there. We're not going to spend a lot of time talking about how to use web pages. But during the installation, I did actually test this out yesterday, and I was going to put together a little video. I may have to edit a little because we had that issue with the password. But I wanted to just show you guys that when you do sign up, that you end up with a page like this, which is pretty nice because it goes through your settings and kind of tells you what your minimum system requirements are. So that could be pretty helpful. Kind of losing.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. For the most part, if you have a modern computer, you shouldn't have much of an issue. It's more maybe of an internet issue, if anything. So if you live in a remote area, sometimes people experience issues. But I just bought one of those Dell $400 blowout specials that was 3 months ago's top technology. Mm-hmm. Spent maybe $500, and I can run several platforms. So sometimes people have a hard time if you have an Apple computer finding a platform, or if you just want a dedicated computer. People sometimes don't like having all their stuff on one computer, mm-hmm. and it's a good way to go. So $400 or $500, dedicated computer. It's pretty affordable way to approach it.
Okay, and in fact, that brings up a question here. Do you need to have a IBM compatible computer, or can you use a Mac?
You need to have IBM. So it's if you run Parallels or some sort of Windows emulator, you should be all right. But it really is designed for PC.
All right. So setting up something like with Wine or with some other kind of application through the Mac, they can still get access. But actually, you're kind of compromising some of the speed of accessing the system, right?
I've never had any issues with it. I've had lots of guys. Obviously, it's becoming a pretty, well-known computer out there. A lot of people have them, and it hasn't really caused much of a complication. I haven't had anybody with an issue.
Okay.
So
All right, and then another question I had was if customers have antivirus software running in the background, firewalls, is that something they should make sure about?
I have not come across too many issues with firewalls. If it is something, it's usually on a one-off basis, so I'm not going to say, there's one way to approach it. I would say no. For the most part, you shouldn't have any issues getting past the firewall.
Okay. Well, I guess just in a basic standard thing, whenever you're installing new software, is you do want to make sure that those issues have been addressed before you start figuring that there's something wrong with the platform itself, and make sure that nothing's blocking access from their computer out to your servers. Sound about right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I can't tell if you're falling out of an airplane or what's going on over there. Everything okay? All right. So if it's all right with you, I can bring up your screen now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So we'll do that as soon as I can figure out why my computer doesn't let me control my mouse. Okay. So there we are into your machine. If you have another machine that's logged into the website, you can see what that looks like. And if you feel like you want to minimize anything, that'll be fine. And
yeah. Sorry, guys. Basically, what I'm doing here is I'm just starting from scratch. So I just found the icon on my desktop, and it's loading up. So I'll take you guys from the very start and get into it a little bit more.
Okay.
So, any questions? I don't have my chat room up either.
Yeah, no problem. Guys, if you have any questions about this part of it, you could start logging your questions. I'll start to keep track of them, and we'll definitely get to the questions along the way. But we have kind of a basic outline of some things that we do want to cover for you. And Stock Bandit, I don't know if that's something Andrew's going to keep track of, so if you want to send that to him in a private message about resetting his account, then he can get to that after the show.
Yeah, guys, anyone who has a demo out there that you want to get into the platform again, let us know. Or if you play around and go a little wild and you need the balance reset, we can do that as well. So just give us a call.
All right.
So you can see the screen, right?
Yes, I can. And
so basically, yeah, when you log in, you're going to get something very similar to this. There's a couple things that I have done to my default layout, so I'll point some of those out. I've added a quote screen. I'm not sure if that comes on the default, but I think it might actually. It's a good little dashboard to keep all your products. You can arrange them accordingly. Mm-hmm. Right on there, move them up, down, put them all, indices. So.
When you get a second, if you can minimize the team viewer box there, if you just click the little side arrow, it'll move it to the right. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
That'll kind of maximize the space.
All right, so you can see I actually have kind of a default template built in there. So if anyone wants to do that, fully customizable, pretty simple to go about.
All right. So, this is kind of a question someone in the room just asked, and since you're talking about layouts, once you have the layout the way you want, how do you go about saving it so you can bring it up the next time?
Sure. If you just right-click on the chart, you can go to Template and Save Template. Name it whatever you want to name it. And then anytime you bring up a new chart, just go, you can just right click again, template, load template, or just actually select it from there. And there you go, there's that product with your pre-configured setup.
Okay, and so I hope that answers the question there to the member in the room. And it looks like you can even then set it as a default template for future.
Correct.
So all your charts will load up with that particular template.
Exactly.
Now, are those templates saved on your machine, or are they on the server side?
No, they are held locally, so they're on your machine.
Okay, so if you use two different computers, you're going to have to create these templates on each machine, or is there a file that somebody can copy over to the other machine?
No, you can export the file. Pardon me. You can export the file, different settings, and then just send them via email. Just remember where you save them, and when you load them back up, basically you just go to import settings, and you just choose from wherever it is, hit open, and you're up and running. Same.
All right. That sounds pretty good. Simple enough. So, all right, now you have, this is the basic system that loads up. I know when I installed it, other than the fact that you customized your chart, I did kind of have the same layout. So maybe you could just take us through the various windows here and show us what we're looking at.
Sure. Windows as far as, what are we looking at? Like windows like this whole left side being a window? Or?
Yeah, the DOM is one window, the chart's a second window.
Gotcha. All right, so... yes, left-hand side, you got the DOM, depth of market. Basically, this is your most transparent way to trade. It's you can see all the bids, the asks. Just place your order right on the platform itself, and you can manage it from there. You can load up several products or different contracts. So there's a Euro currency and TF, DAX. So you can trade a multiple of markets all at once, and it's easy to watch. So if anything gets away from you, there's a lot of quick click buttons on there. Go to last, which is center of the market, wherever the screen is relative. Buy market, sell market, and so on. So.
All right. Now, give me 1 second. I need to move my browser to another monitor so I can change some settings. I'm going to turn off the ad that's on the live stream. I think it's covering up some of what we're doing here. So, now you just kind of went through those instruments, and I don't know if anyone out there noticed, but it's these tabs that are below the DOM. So let's say, for example, we wanted to trade CL. How would we add that as a new tab?
Yeah, sure. If you just go up to View, and then go to Depth of Market. New. All right. Let's close one of these guys out. View, market. You said CL.
Yeah.
So that's GCL. There you go. You just hit OK, and it'll populate the GCL in the DOM.
Okay. So why is the G on there? Is it considered a Globex product, or?
That is just a symbol code. Different firms will, and different clearinghouses will have slight variations. So for the most part, you see, ES is usually ES across the board. Sometimes you see some differences on the 6E or some of these products, crude or gold maybe, but nothing different. It's just a different label. Okay.
And is there a keyboard way of switching between those tabs at the bottom?
I'm sure there is a hotkey function, shift plus an arrow or something like that, but I don't know it.
Okay.
I just click on it.
I always like to know if you could do any kind of keyboard shortcuts to.
I'm sure there's a ton of them.
I'm just.
I can send you a mail.
Yeah, well, you know what? We'll save that for another time. I'm sure we're not going to get into everything tonight, and that's just fine. And like I said, we'll try to get the questions answered. Man, I hope he answered the question about adding the other types of instruments to the DOM, so it takes care of that. Now, on the DOM, I noticed that the volume is there, and it looks like some kind of histogram is on the volume there. Is that something that can be turned on and off?
Yes, it can. It's as simple as just going up here. There's a little icon for it, and it's gone.
All right. Now, where's that little icon that you're clicking on?
Oh, it's kind of looks like a small histogram. It's on the top right-hand side.
So it's on the toolbar at the top of the DOM.
Yep.
And I could see when I hover on it, or you hovered on it, it says histogram. And so that's pretty easy. Now, I noticed in the options there was something about doing a bid and then ask histogram.
Yeah, you can add a bunch of different things. So it'll basically do the same thing, but just on the bid or the ask. You can, obviously change all the colors and fonts and stuff as well. Let's see.
It should be the last tab, I think, or next to last tab. And you can turn on basically all the histograms, I guess.
There you go.
Okay. So now that histogram would be based on the bids for the whole day or the active bids, do you know?
It looks like the active bids.
Yeah.
It does fluctuating, so yeah, I'm going to say that's the active bids.
Okay. So, I one thing I got to tell you, I only installed this, I had it for a couple days, but already I love it more than a few other similar DOMs I've seen. It just seems like you guys spent a little extra time and adding little features to this that is pretty handy.
Yeah, FT and its histograms.
All right, you can turn that off if you want, so we don't mess up your usual setting there. Now I know I emailed you an outline, and I don't have it printed out, so I'm kind of going by a pencil sketch that I made here. If there's anything you think we should get back to, let me know. But now let's talk about placing orders on the DOM.
Okay.
And most DOMs, they let you click on somewhere to place the order. What I like about this DOM is the fact that when you hover in the different columns, it's actually telling you what the clicking will do.
Exactly.
I haven't noticed that on some others. I don't know if I missed something, but why don't you walk us through what the different columns allow you to do?
Sure. So you have the bid, you have the market and where it's trading, which is highlighted in yellow, and then you have the ask column. So if you're buying, you're on the bid column, and basically it'll tell you when you hover. If you're above the market or below the market, you have the option to place in stops and limits, and depending on what you want to do, it says left click, right click. So same goes for the ask. If you want to sell, you're obviously clicking on the ask column. Same rules apply. But like Brian was saying, one of the nice things, like if we were to put some bracket orders on, it will populate right on the DOM exactly what you're doing. So let's do it by
All right, so I could tell already there's something interesting. You actually have two different brackets, one for the buy side, one for the sell side.
right.
So you could create different strategies.
Exactly. Yep. So basically, people will have their designated strategies for each market. It's just a way to keep them separate.
Okay.
Even if you get into more, I should probably elaborate on that. If you get into more advanced stuff, you can build more complicated strategies, save them, and kind of have them ready for your disposal.
Okay. Now you're on the CL, so the factors have to be according to the tick of the CL. Is that why you were changing that to fractions?
Yeah, exactly. It starts you off at 1 point. Well, in the CL, when it ticks in pennies, so that 1 point is actually 100 ticks outside the market. So that's why you saw me scrambling to change it. But
yeah.
So now you see this. If I was going to place a order to buy at 92.45, and in this example, my profit target is going to go in at 92.48, and then I'm going to have a stop that goes in at 92.42. And nice thing is it is visual, and it has OCO logic. So if one side gets taken, if one side gets hit, and you get filled on it, the other orders cancel out, so it's not going to reverse on you and fill you.
Okay, so just to draw attention to it, you have the mouse hovering on the green column of the buy side, and the stops are being highlighted in orange on the opposite side, in line with where they would go if you were filled.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, it's just relative to where you're placing the order. So.
Where you're placing the order. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty basic. Now you mentioned about OCO orders. Now that would be in another area, not just a simple...
Well, that is what a bracket order is.
Oh, yeah, what am I thinking about? Sure, you're saying basically if your top sell order gets hit, it would cancel the stop order.
Exactly. I mean, I can place it. So now that's working. If that order gets hit, then those two orders on the ask column will go in, and if one of those were to get hit, it'll take the other one out. So that is a little bit, it's pretty simple, but it's probably one of the most effective orders you can put on.
Okay. Now, you said once the order is triggered, then those other two orders get sent in. So, for the time being, while you have it on your platform, those two stop orders aren't actually sent into the system. They're kind of hidden.
What do you mean by that? They're at the exchange, so you're all set with this.
No, I meant before your order gets hit. Let's say you put an order in right now to buy at 92.40. So you're not getting hit yet.
The initial entry order.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So let's sit in there, and you mean where's that order?
Are the stops sent in as well, or is it just?
Those stops are not going to get sent in until you get filled on the initial.
Okay. So nobody's. The only thing being sent into the market is your bid order or your ask order, but no one's seeing your stops.
Correct.
But however, once the order's placed, then those both get sent. So they get sent at the same time. Is there any way for someone on the exchange to know that they're linked together?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. So all those conspiracy theorists who think that the market's getting driven to take them out in one direction and pull them back in the other direction.
Yeah.
Doesn't always happen that way, right? Unless you have a block of 500, and it's a little more obvious.
That's a different story, but for the everyday trader that's maybe doing 10, 20, even 30 lots, that's not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. But with an E-mini contract, maybe some of the other markets, maybe, but.
All right, I'm getting told that the bots know because the order has the same ID number.
It's possible. I really don't know if they both have the same coding. I know that there's a bunch of order ID ticket numbers that come across. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sure if they were tied together. They probably are for accounting and compliance type purposes. There probably is a way to tell that they're linked. So,
okay,
whoever wrote that's probably right.
All right. Well, we have some pretty smart traders in the chat room there. They're keeping me on my toes. So, let me just back up, and instead of trying to save a lot of these questions for the end, maybe we'll just hit them as they come up. We talked about adding other symbols to the DOM side. What would you do to, like right now you're looking at the CL. Is there a way to make the chart update per whichever tab you're looking at in your DOM?
The only way that I know, you mean as you switch from tab to tab, the charts switch as well?
Yeah.
I don't have mine tied together. I don't know if there is a way to tie them together.
Okay.
I've just always clicked on whatever is pertinent. You can launch a chart from the DOM if you're trading like this contract. I don't populate it on my DOM or my charting, but there you go.
Okay, now that was a little icon next to the histogram.
Yeah, it's like a little miniature chart. You click on that, and whatever you have up on the DOM is what's going to pop up on your chart.
Okay.
When you do log into the demo for the first time, there's one thing. When you start pulling up these different charts and stuff, if you go to View, you have to go to Lock Windows and uncheck that, and that'll allow you to start placing things inside the platform. So that chart that I just pulled out for the CL. Now we just dropped it in and it's with the rest of them. So. Okay,
it sounds like you dropped it on the floor.
Is it really that loud?
Well, I don't know. Maybe because I have headphones on, but it's fine. No one else has really been saying anything about it. I'm just busting your chops. Sorry.
Huge headset on.
It's the microphone that's I guess picking up a lot. So basically, then all these charts that you have open, they seem like they're tied into all of these tabs that are at the bottom. And you're saying basically, if you're going to have, let's say you have the 5 now set up for your DOM, then go ahead and have 5 charts set up, and then you could switch between them.
Yeah, correct.
And we won't rule out the possibility that you can link them, but we'll have to look at that for a follow-up maybe on another show.
I'm sure there's a way. When you start getting into it, the platform has more than enough capabilities, and I probably won't do it justice, but we'll try.
No, that's fine.
There's a ton that you can do. If you're into code or you want to do an automated strategy, it's got all the capabilities for that. And orders all sit exchange side, so exchange server. It's it's an awesome platform. It doesn't go down. It's rock solid. You can customize it. It's just playing with it a little bit. So obviously, everyone gets it's hard to adjust to something new, but play with it for a couple days, and I think it's pretty easy and intuitive.
Okay. Yeah, actually, maybe we could just mention again, right now we're on daytradingradio.com here with Briguy's Tools of the Trade, and I have Andrew here from VanKar. We're showing off the VanKar VK Trader LT platform, and right now just looking at the demo. I'm assuming the full-blown version is the same thing.
Yes.
And tomorrow, actually, on daytradingradio.com, tomorrow night we're going to have a special show, and Johnny's actually going to be using his, and you're sharing out your passwords and everything right now.
There you go.
So that's all right. Then Johnny's going to be having another guest on, Gas, who's going to help him get set up with automated trading, in part with the VanKar platform. So, any of you guys out there who want to come back tomorrow and check that out, you might find that interesting. So, getting back to the DOM now. We talked about placing the orders. Now, I noticed when you hovered on one of the columns there, it had something about placing alerts. Maybe you could talk to us about how you go about placing alerts and what kind of alerts are they?
Sure, absolutely. Basically, if you want to set some sort of price level and be notified of the column to the left of the price, it allows you to just, if you left click, you can place, you can designate certain sounds for if it's doing certain things, more or less. I'll just do an auto. If this gets hit, it's just going to make noise. You can
auto means what? It doesn't matter if it's high or low?
Exactly. It's just if that gets hit, it's going to chime or whatever you've designated that noise to be, but it will let you know that, hey, something's happening. Whatever level you've set, it's getting hit.
Okay. Now, where would you set the chime?
There's got to be. I knew that one was coming too.
That's all right. And actually, I think I found the outline. I realized I can get my email on my phone. Modern technology.
Oh, I got your outline.
Yeah, I needed to have it, so make it handy. Yeah, because we have with some other platforms, we've been showing on the show how you can customize alerts and have it call out different things. On the show, we have. Oh boy, I guess it got hit.
Did something go off? I didn't hear.
Yeah, I think the 9249 must have went off because I don't see it on the screen any longer. Unless that was it's not there anymore. So, kind of what I wanted to know is if you can set these alerts that are unique for each of the instruments. That way, when you hear the audio alert go off, you know if it's from the ES or from the CL or.
Right. You can. I've played with it. I have so many things going off on my desk at the office that. So if you go to Tools and you go down to Price Alerts, box pops up. You can add them from there. So you can just go online and download like WAV files or JPEGs or whatever. Mm-hmm. They work in here, and. I guess might as well try it, right?
Absolutely.
You know what? I don't think I have any. All right. Well.
All right. You know what? Let's leave that for another time. No problems. But it's there. We can. Obviously it's customizable for every user, and it's not something that you're using all the time. So, but it is there if you want to set. Different price levels.
Alerts all the time. I actually use them all the time. Customers will call in and they'll want different notifications for stuff. I use it. It's a great feature. Is it that you're in the demo and all those things are set in your regular platform? No, so I'm on a laptop right now that I don't ever use. And my stations at work, I've gone through all this stuff, and I use a very, like anything, when you get into the whole rhythm of the day and you use a finite number of tools. Mine are just not configured on this. I just logged in, downloaded everything, hit, restore default layout, and I kind of played with it 10 minutes prior. But
Okay. So basically, though, you could export your settings on your other machine and bring them into here if you wanted to.
Which would have been the smart thing.
Okay, well, I'm just saying for everyone else out there that they can, that if you do customize all these things and you move to another machine, it's available to get that done.
Exactly, it's very easy.
Okay. I'll tell you another thing I really like about this system is on your charts, the fact that you have this little countdown for the candles, it looks like. So, like right now you're looking at the GL, or the CL rather, on a 2-minute chart.
2-minute chart. So, yeah.
But it's counting down the time left on the candle. I think that's fantastic.
Yep. It's a real solid system. You can really do a lot with it. You can customize, and it gives you all the feedback you need.
Okay. The program you're running now, you've got these little sub windows in here. Are these able to be popped out at all and moved to another monitor?
They can. So, if you are running a multiple screen system, once you get the layout down and you have, you want to put your quotes off, and all you need is, say, your dome and your charts. You can, like I said, you want to go up here to view and just unlock these windows. And then what you can do is just go down to whatever window you want. It's just like any sort of Windows function, and you can pop it out.
Okay. Got it. And then you can move that off to another machine if you wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Throw it on another monitor, free up some space, and then just really go with just whatever you're using, just the pricing ladder and the charts.
Okay. Let's get back to the DOM for a second, and maybe what you can do is put in an order and then demonstrate how you can move the order around.
Okay, let's find something that might be moving a little bit more. Alright, well, let's go on the euro here. Maybe I'll get a little bit of movement. So if I were to place an order, say I wanted to buy one, let's go to last, because it'll center the screen. Just place it on here. I'm going to buy a limit order. Work that at 131.08. So if I wanted to move that, basically all you would do is just click on it, and then you can move it wherever, up or down, wherever you want it to go. Simple enough. Just left click, drag it, and then drop it.
Okay, so there's two different things going on. Now you're actually holding down the left click and dragging it.
Correct. Drag and then drop when you're at the preferred price where you want to, arrange or move that order to.
Okay. Now I see some other options, and again, this is what I love about this DOM is it's telling you what your choices are. So then, if you were to just single left click, not hold it down, it lets you do what? Why don't you show that?
You could. So if you were, you wanted to throw on more contracts, you could just, or less. You could just left click once, modify the quantity. Now we're doing an 8.
Okay. Does it make, some of the other DOMs, every time you click on it, it would add one. So you can click, and then you're up to 4 or something like that. Is that the way it's configured, or that's a whole nother thing?
I don't have that configured that way, but you can do that where you just add them on by 1. You set your quantity, and you can go to market or...
Okay. Interesting. How about your stops? Are they basically the same thing? Once, let's say you had a bracket order in there and it got filled?
Exact same thing. So we can do, we'll do the exit market and throw on some brackets. Let's see if I can get some on there real quick. But it is the exact same thing. Just drag and drop, and you're off and running. So, and it maintains all the OCO logic, so you're good to go with that. You can feel safe that whatever order you place, you're going to be okay with it getting taken out if one side gets taken out.
All right.
There you go. I threw one in real close, didn't get filled yet, so I was able to move that. Moved both my limit and my stop.
All right, so you're saying before you got filled, you were even allowed to move your stop orders around?
Well, what I had, the market just didn't move on me. When I put those in, they were only 1 tick off the market, so I was able to move them real quick. That way, I was able to show you this example of how you could move them. If I got filled on it, it would have taken the other one out. So
okay. I think's happening too, just for our members to know, is I have the recording, at a rate of 5 frames a second, and you're a lightning dude with your moving your mouse and your click. So I'm seeing it fine, but I don't know if it's coming across the broadcast that way. So you guys, if you hear me kind of re-explaining things, that's the only reason I'm doing that, because it looks like the screen didn't really show him dragging the order out, and hopefully it'll be fine. Of course, Paul actually blinks at 85 frames a second, so he's able to pick up on all that. All right, so that's basically those are pretty basic things. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I wanted everyone to see that those were how you can do those things. Trying to think. Someone asked a question. Oh, I think they asked that very question there. And I do see some questions about margin requirements. Why don't we maybe get into that a little bit later on? And Andrew will just give you a heads up on that in case you wanted to defer that in some other way.
No, that's fine.
And, okay. Yeah, Madman, actually, we mentioned earlier about the templates. Now, when you add drawings to the charts, Andrew, are they also saved in the template? Or is it just the studies?
The drawings are not going to be, if you're setting up just, a couple lines just to plot whatever, that's not going to be saved from template to template. Any sort of indicator will be. You put a MACD on with some Bollinger Bands, all that stuff, that will save to the template.
Okay. So there's the answer there. If you leave the chart open, will the drawings be there tomorrow?
They will, depending on what you have. Depending on the time frame as well. You might have to scroll back a little bit, but it should all be there. If you put something on that, it's just an infinite line, that'll still all be there.
Okay. Yeah, because I know sometimes on Johnny's show, and I know RPM as well when he broadcasts, that sometimes there'll be a trend line coming into play, and they'll scroll backwards maybe a week or so to try to see where that line's coming from. And it's kind of interesting how sometimes these things play off. But it seems like with this platform, you'd have to keep those tabs open, those charts open, in order for those drawings to be preserved.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. So, duly noted. And I think I'm staying caught up with the questions here. Let's see, we went over the charts. The DOM. Can you maybe, another thing is if you can show on the chart those two arrows, the up and down arrow, and explain what those are. This is another feature that I liked.
So there's a way that you can indicate your trades on the chart, and I had to have placed an order that was earlier on today, and it's showing the fill because I still logged into my master account, user and pass. So you can go from computer to computer and pull up your own account credentials and stuff. But so I placed the order earlier, and it's just showing where I got in and out at.
Okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot and showing your personal orders here. If you wanted to throw another order in there and just have it triggered so it'll show up. I thought this was pretty clever because then it's a good visualization of where you got into the order and where you're getting out of the order, and seeing that plotted on the chart for you. All right, so there you go. You got filled. I mean, it's actually even spelling it out for you. It was a limit order and what level you got in at.
Yep.
And
I just took myself out, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say if you just waited 2 more seconds. All right, but there's the overlap. That's kind of what I was looking for, too. And it looks like maybe you've changed the fonts to a little bit larger on yours.
Well, it's it's probably a default font, but if you want to get into the properties and change everything, it's simple enough. You just expand out these little arrows in the top right-hand side.
Okay, in that purple area there?
Exactly. And then you can start getting into it all. So I'm on my current profile, but I can change all the fonts, colors, basically every setting on here you can change.
Wow. So So, I thought was that might be helpful for any traders out there who are colorblind, which is probably an awful thing that you're dealing with. But at least you can go in and change these to darker contrasts to help you out. You're not limited to just using the built-in colors.
Exactly. So,
okay.
Again, tailor-made.
All right. Well, we're actually moving through these pretty quickly here. I guess that's pretty good. On the DOM side now, we had a toolbar up there with looked like a lot of different things. Maybe you can kind of go through. I don't know if you hand-picked a couple that you wanted to showcase.
Well, some of the more commonly used ones, obviously the charting one's pretty popular, but the brackets is probably one of the biggest. And again, that's when you place your order and you get filled on it. That will automatically send your profit target as well as your stop loss. And it's real simple. All you do is click this little triangular looking thing with the three different balls on it, and you get your buy and sell bracket at the bottom. Now you want to configure this. Say you're trading the E-mini, it ticks in quarter points, and so 0.25 is actually one tick. When you place that order, it automatically is going in for you. So you get taken out if you hit your levels, or you get taken out if you draw too much heat.
All right. What do you mean by draw too much heat?
If the trade goes against you, if you lose money.
Okay.
So
you're just mentioning both sides then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Some of the other things, so if you go to the stops tab, it'll open up even more. You have an option for iceberg orders, and if you know what that is, you can check this off and say I'm working, I don't know, like a 25 lot. But in the bid column or the S column, whatever you're doing, buying or selling, it's only going to show 2. So it's going to show 2, fill it, show 2, fill it, show 2, fill it, until you reach whatever that's going to be. So, if you have a 10 lot, it'll just keep pulling off clips 2 because I have my volume set to 2. So it's a way that people want to hide their orders, how much they're coming into the market with. They like to use iceberg orders. And that's something that not a lot of platforms out there, well, maybe more of them have started offering it more recently, but you used to have to go with bigger platforms like TT and big dollar platforms to get this. So.
Okay, so let's just review that. Now you're saying that on the exchange side, they're not going to see an order for 10. They're just going to see an order for 2.
Exactly.
Now, does that mean that when your second order of 2 comes in, that you're getting in at the back of the line again?
Yes.
Okay, so we'd have to take that into account for the trade, and interesting. So this is different. I've seen other platforms where you can, and maybe I just understood it incorrectly, but they called it a hidden order, where let's say you wanted to buy 500 shares, but you would only show 200. And I was under the impression that you were actually buying 500 shares at that point. Is it actually being done like this? You'd be buying 200 and then 200 and then 100?
Yeah, exactly. It's pulling them off in whatever that value is. So if you want to do them in clips of 50, it's working that 50 lot.
Okay.
And then once that gets done, it works another 50 lot.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting tool to have. What else is in there? I see you got, there was another thing next to iceberg when you're looking at that other, maybe I got to bring that up again.
There you go.
Market if touched. What does that do?
Basically all that does is if the market gets hit, whatever kind of order you have sitting out there is going to get filled. Basically it makes everything become a stop order. So you have limit orders out there that, if you know what a limit order is, you are put into that queue that you were talking about, and as you get filled, or every time you move that limit order, let's say you get placed at the back of the queue, so it starts first in, gets filled, and so on until it gets to your order. This just makes it is if your price gets hit, you get filled. So it makes it basically a stop order.
Okay, all right. So underneath iceberg there, the whole rest of that's dealing with stops then.
Exactly. That's only because I have my my icon up here still checked off. If I wanted that to go away, just click that little triangle.
Okay.
And now we're
so these are kind of two different sections then, regards.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So the iceberg kind of stands alone as like a buy stop type of thing.
Yep.
Okay. And now, what about trailing stops? I see you have that there as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a little hard to demonstrate because you need a market that's moving. But basically what a trailing stop is say you get into an order or into a position, the market's going in your favor, you're going to set a trigger. So say the market is going, if it goes 10 ticks, your stop is going to start to trail that market. So you can set the stop to be, say, 4 ticks behind. So the market's going up, it triggers at 10 ticks, and then what happens is that stop order becomes active and will trail that working order up as the market moves up. But it'll always stay whatever, say, 4 ticks behind.
Okay. And is it safe to assume then if the market reverses direction, it's not moving itself down and keeping that?
That's the whole point of the trailing stop is, say you want to let one run. You set a trail of 10 ticks, and the market just, you have that 10 tick buffer. So as that market keeps running up, it'll always stay 10 ticks behind the market, but if it reverses, you're only going to take 10 ticks worth of loss, or 10 ticks less of profit, I should say.
Okay. All right, so that's pretty standard. I don't see anybody asking a lot of questions about these orders, so I guess we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Now, you did mention the bracket orders.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Is there a more complicated order for, let's say, you're placing the order for a 10 lot, and you want to designate different behaviors for, let's say, 2 lots, and then 4 lots, and then the remaining 4 lots, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can really get into, well, if you're doing multiple lots at different prices on one contract, that's not going to work because the way the futures are, they're going to average in. So basically what you're telling me in that example, if I'm hearing you correctly, is you're essentially trading 2 different strategies, which if you are trading the same contract with, multiple lot configurations, and you can set up sub-accounts. So if that's something that interests you, you want to trade an E-mini long strategy as well as a day trade strategy, we can do sub-accounts and main accounts. So one thing to note. What else, Brian? I think I strayed off topic.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Actually, I hear what you're describing, and that's not what I meant. Let me explain it this way. We talked about peeling orders off, and we talked about letting a runner run. So is there a way to set up the order? If I place the order for 10, it automatically throws in my stops. Maybe it sets a certain bracket for the first 2, a different bracket for another 4, and then maybe a trailing stop for the remaining 4, something along those lines.
So that is a little bit more complex, but if you go to this little thumbs up guy on the top of the dome and go to configure, there's actually a choice right there, multi-bracket, which is what you want, because you want multiple targets.
Looks like maybe you have that set already, and there it goes. Okay, just took a minute to come up.
So if you go to that multi-bracket, open that up, you'll see this exactly. Bracket 1. Basically, you can just modify that as needed.
So
we're doing.
Can you describe what I'm reading there? Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, bracket 1 is just, say we're doing. I have a 10 lot on here right now. Let's just change it. And it's real simple. So let's just say we want to take off. Sorry, Brian.
That's all right. Take your time.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure why I can't get this to change right now. Anyways, all right. So what you would do is essentially just set this up however many you want to take off. Say you want to peel off 2 of them at this price point. You set your first bracket at a quantity of whatever, two contracts that we're taking it off. The target, how many ticks away from where you get filled. So you would do, say, I want to do a 1.5. That would be 6 ticks. You put in 6.
All right. So just for a moment, the numbers here about factor and all, that's tick amounts. So depending on what instrument it is, it's just always going to be a tick amount.
Correct. So
Okay.
you're correct. If you're trading E-minis, quarter per tick. If you're trading something, crude or gold, it could be a penny. So it's something to be aware of.
Okay.
But you just basically move right down the line. So you set your quantity up, how many you want to take off at this particular price point. You set your profit target up.
Well, let's make it 2, because that's the idea here.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I'm having a hard time getting this to be able to change. There we go. 2 ticks. Quality. Take up 2. How many ticks out?
Let's do 4.
Full point. All right. So this is just basically telling you we're going to take off 2 if we hit 4 ticks profit, and OCO is on, which means it's going to cancel out your stop, and then your stop's already preset to match that to ES, and you're going to have to set how many points or ticks or however you want to put that.
Okay, so we can have a target of 4 and a stop of 6.
Exactly.
Okay, good. And now our second bracket.
Second bracket.
So this would be the next 4, let's say.
Exactly. Choose your quantity. And then however many. So you want to set this out a little bit further. You could do 10.
Okay.
Limit. Your stop, same deal.
That's fine.
Stop. Yep. You can go out a little bit further. And on the bracket 3.
And that would be the remaining 4.
Exactly. So I'm not sure about my keyboards.
Now is 3 in a multi-bracket trading, is 3 levels pretty much what everybody has, or there's not a way of doing 4 or 5?
Pretty standard. You can do 4 or 5. You can get into real complicated stuff. If you start getting into the strategy building, if you start getting into coding and all that stuff, you can do multiples.
Okay. And while you're typing out the rest of that, and I see the last one's a trailing stop, so that's good. And then that little miscellaneous option. So what is that telling us?
1 second. Stop by disconnect. False. That's a good question.
Now, what's it say on the little box underneath?
So should server-side strategy stop on client disconnect? So basically what I'm interpreting that to be is if you lose connection, where is your order?
All right, so in other words, the order's already been sent. If we had 10, and it looks like there's our signal to wrap things up. If we had the order go in for 10 contracts, all of these stops, this complex multi-bracket listing of stops, all that's getting sent in together. And so it's sitting server-side at that point. And we're saying if for whatever reason we lose power on our end, we can have it set that all those stops stay in play on your side of things, so we're not panicking if for some reason we lost the internet connection.
Yep, correct.
Sounds good. Okay, so again, getting back to our chat room here, it looks like you guys are talking to one another. I can't tell if you got any questions specific to us, and that would be good. You guys got this covered, I guess. Got someone asking about when you get your stop filled, is that considered a market order or a limit order?
When your stop is filled, it's a market order.
Okay. So I think on the screen it might have said stop limit, but I think it's a moot point at that point, right? Because it's getting hit at that level.
Right. Sometimes you
could it move away from you technically if it was really running?
What do you mean? A stop?
Yeah.
Well, you can get slipped on a stop. That's where a stop limit comes in.
Maybe that's what they're asking. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you can, if you're in a real fast market, you know, a stop order is a market order, so you're going to get filled wherever the market fills you. Well, in a real fast market, you might get filled a little bit off of where you want it to be. So you can sometimes set a stop limit order in there, and it'll only allow, basically the way it acts is it'll send that stop order, and then it'll send a limit order right after that. So it'll only allow it to go so much. So it only allows X amount of slippage.
Okay. Obviously, if the market's dropping out on you, and you know you happen to be on the short side there, then the fact that you're getting taken out for maybe two ticks away from where you wanted to be, I mean, it could be worse.
It could be.
So the fact that you've got the stop in there is really the key, anyway, exactly, to keep it from there being no floor, and then then you're in big trouble.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm getting some comments that there's a big difference between a stop limit order and a stop market order. Why don't we just ask this question? When you were in your multi-bracket there, is there a way to specify that it's a stop order versus a stop limit versus a stop market?
Well, let's just go to it. All right, so there's a stop. Let's go to number 2. And yeah, there is a big difference. Who's ever mentioned that is 100% correct. No, there's not. You cannot do a stop limit.
All right, so they're set as stop market orders.
Exactly.
Okay.
And a stop market and a stop limit are totally different. Again, your stop limit will only allow X amount of slippage, because it does throw in a limit order, wherever you specified, 2 points away or whatever.
So what does that mean now? If the market, let's say the market drops out, and you've got a stop limit order in, is there a possibility you won't get filled?
If your machine's able to get the orders off fast enough, which I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. I've never had any issues with that. You would limit any sort of slippage. You would get your fills.
Okay, someone's saying that is what it means, that it's a possibility of not getting filled, which is a point that he's making. So, for example, we're looking at the ES here. Let's say you had an order put in now at 1452 and a stop order in at 1451. I think this is the scenario we're talking about. So if it's a stop limit order at 1451, and for whatever reason, a plane flies into the exchange and knocks it out, and the orders just drop suddenly. All of a sudden, all the asks disappear, and they all skip right past 1451. And it sounds like I'm getting a call, so hang on a second. We are experiencing difficulties. Please stand by. All right, Andrew. I got put on hold there, so if you can still hear me on the broadcast, then let me know. But I think that's where the question is, that if 1451 is your limit order, and the market, all the asks wipe out, and they all start showing up down at 1450, it seems like in that scenario, and maybe Dr. Gass can back me up on this, that in that scenario you would not get filled. So what that means is you would prefer to have a stop market order, I would think, which means that once the order showed back up again at 1450, it would have passed your level, and it would have thrown the order in, even though you're 4 ticks away from where you'd like to have been. The fact is the order would have gone in at any rate. So that's the way I've looked at it. So guys, here's what's happening. Andrew was kind enough to come on and demonstrate this, and here's a scenario in point, is that his battery was running out while he was talking with us, and so his system is disconnected from my system. And in theory, if he had any orders placed, and stops in place, they would all be triggered right now. And so, unless as long as he didn't get filled in anything, they would all get canceled. But if he had an order in there and some stops sitting on the server side, he would be great. So, appreciate the time that you spent there, Andrew, with us. And I think we left a few questions on the table that we can certainly get to on another show, and maybe dig a little deeper into some of the charting and some of the other features there that are on the toolbar. What I'm going to do too is, since I had and let me bring that link back up for you guys on the VanKar platform. Let me see where I put that. Yeah, that's it right here. Let me close out of the team viewer and just show you guys the link that we had a little bit earlier was for the VanKar platform. And if you guys wanted to check it out, there was a link that's in the announcement that you guys can take a look at, and I could post that again if anyone needs it. But it's a pretty sharp program. A lot of these DOMs are very similar to one another. I don't know if they're based on the same code as a start, at least, but the tools that you get with VanKar are looks like they spent some time adding some features to it to kind of make it very usable and user-friendly. Some of the other features that we could talk about in another show too is the Trade Analyzer. That's another program that I've heard brought up on other shows, and it certainly is a handy tool to go back through your trades and see how you're making out with them, and maybe be able to see where you can make some adjustments. All right. So I know Andrew. Let me just check if he's still maybe on another machine with his Skype. As I know we had a question from one of the members about the margin requirements. And what I'll say to you is to just get in touch with Andrew. I'll give you his contact info in that private room there, and if you don't get a hold of him otherwise, he's also in our members chat room. Again, he's probably not logged in right now, but he is in the members chat room during the day as VanKar_Andrew. So you can check him out there and be able to get your questions answered. So if there's no more questions from me, guys, I'm actually gonna, let's see, there's no more questions here. Nope, we're looking good. So if there's no more questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the show up here, and I'll leave you guys with some tunes, and I'll get the ES platform on here, maybe even see if I can get the VanKar ES running. You guys can see how that works, and we'll get into this a little bit further. If you have any questions about the platform that we didn't get to tonight, then please send me an email. You can reach me in the members forum. Look me up in there. Or if you want to send me a private email, my address is brian@briguytrading.com. You can also send me a tweet if you want to use hashtag daytradingradio. That will catch my attention on the Twitter feed, and I'll be happy to research your questions and put them together for a future show that we could that we can cover with you guys on another show. Okay? So that's it for now. This is daytradingradio.com, Briguy's Tools of the Trade. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you on the next show.